Chavez, hey. Gotcha. Questions from the board? Questions from the PIO? Yeah. Exactly what we're doing. I want to go through it step by step. Why do you try? Up there. I think we can get that all.
So they have carrots.
So we're not going to open session for about an hour, so. Obviously, you're welcome to stick around. You want to go grab dinner or something or. Some beer. Might be a liquor guy.
So that's a no go close that in the other boardroom.
They're gonna go close that in the other office. Yeah. Back out.
Here are the top 5 features that are the reason I use Garmin Pilot every time I fly. Number 5, the station model. There are so many types of data you can set ground stations to show, but the station model shows 8 data points at a glance. Number 4, the emergency button. Tap the red button and a high contrast map clearly shows all of the suitable landing spots around you and automatically brings up the emergency checklist for the aircraft that you're currently flying. Number 3, the procedure button.
Since 1888, the National Geographic Society has championed generations of explorers to illuminate the vibrancy of our world. Our mission is as urgent as ever, because there's always another wonder for us to go and find.
Are we ready to go? All right. It is 6:24. We will reconvene. Reporting of actions from closed session. The board took action on an existing claim, CIV SB 2115713. In closed session, the board took action to approve the stipulated suspended expulsion for student number 2425028613468178. The board voted was 3 yeas to 0 nays. All right. And the board also took action to approve the readmission of student number 44347, and the vote was 3 yeas to 0 nays. Okay. Now we'll move on to the approval of the minutes. First will be from the regular board meeting of October 22nd. Can I get a motion?
So move.
And I will second. Can I get a vote?
Yes.
And we'll do an abstention
Well, Mr. Eastless.
because it was from the October meeting.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Okay. Next, we'll move to the same approval of the minutes from the special board meeting of November 1st.
So move.
All right, and I will second. And for the vote, aye.
Aye.
And one abstention. All right, and the last approval of the minutes from the November 12th meeting.
So moved.
And I will second. And all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
One abstention. All right. And we will do business or public comments, business from the floor. The board meeting is a business meeting with the board held in a public forum to comply with the Brown Act. It is not a town hall meeting with the board. This is the time for citizens to present problems or questions they feel the board should discuss. Individuals are encouraged to address the full board, not individual board members. The law prohibits the board from taking action on items not on the agenda. Requests to speak cards should be filled out in advance and presented to the superintendent's executive assistant. Instructions for submitting remote public comments can be found on our website, busdk12.com, under the tab Board of Trustees. The board has a policy limiting any speaker to not more than 3 minutes. The board limits the total time for public input on each item or topic to 15 minutes or 5 individual requests to speak. The president may review the submitted request to speak or take a poll of the speakers for or against a particular issue and may ask that additional persons speak only if they have something new to add. Citizens who have comments on or against a particular issue may be asked to provide a written statement for the record or sign an agreement with the written comments of another citizen. All names will be memorialized in minutes. With board consent, the president may increase or decrease the time allowed for presentation depending on the topic and the number of persons wishing to be heard. For the record, please state your name. Do we have any?
We have one.
Okay.
Teresa Acosta. She would like to address the board to request hotspots for teachers during internet outages.
Yes, we've had outages on Friday and Monday, which you already know about, and trying to instruct when there is no internet is very difficult. It's like trying to do something with one arm tied behind your back. Some content is only available online, and when the internet is out, you don't have access to it. And if your plan was to use that online only content, you now have to scramble to come up with a plan B, and you can't find anything online because you don't have access. So it becomes a very stressful day because we're all trying to scramble to come up with a good way to instruct our students with the limited access that we have to whatever supplemental materials that we can dig up for that day. And it just feels almost like a wasted day because you couldn't do what you really wanted to. So I'm hoping you'll consider it because we know the internet is going to keep going out. It's happened so many times in the past. I don't see it ending no matter what provider that we end up using. So thank you.
Thank you. There's just one? Okay. All right, next we'll move on to reports, staff reports. Have Williams first quarter report 24-25.
I believe it's going to go over to Mr. Godfrey.
Yes, this is part of the annual Williams oversight by San Bernardino County Superintendent of Schools. This report is quite lengthy. The team that comes in to inspect our instructional materials, which we have over about 30,000 hard copy books that they'll count, along with surveying our facilities for good repair or extreme repair. They look at our school accountability report cards, both for whether or not they're complete and whether or not they're posted on our website. And then finally, they take a look at our teacher assignments or lack thereof, which would be misassignments. And that's the report that you have in front of you. I'm happy to report that there were no deficiencies in instructional reports, materials, I should say. There were no deficiencies in the SARC, school accountability report cards, and also with teacher misassignments. We did have some deficiencies as it relates to the facility inspection tool, which what happens is they go through and they look at pretty much the entire campus. They do focus on restrooms, general meeting areas, classrooms, hallways, play structures, gathering areas for students. There were no extreme deficiencies at any of our 8 school sites, which includes Barstow High School, Barstow Junior, STEM Academy, Cameron, Crestline, Henderson, Montera, and Skyline. There were no extreme deficiencies, meaning all of those gathering areas are safe for students to be in, as well as our teachers and adults. However, there are some good repair deficiencies, which is essentially that means when the team comes in, they'll notice maybe there is a soap dispenser that's missing soap, or a fire extinguisher that's not been signed off as being complete. In that case, for this report, there were a total of 101 good repair deficiencies. Of those, 32 were able to be remedied on that day. So as long as the maintenance and custodial staff could remedy, they did. That left 69 good good repair items that would require a work order, which those have been submitted. Those work order numbers have to be submitted to the county. And when they come back and see us next year at the same time, they'll check on those work orders to make sure that we remedy those repairs. That concludes my report on this large packet you have in front of you.
You guys have any questions? I just wanted to say thank you. Just doing the report, all the work. I know there's a lot that goes into it. So thank you. I know each time, at least as long as I've been here, everything's always been a bunch of small things, manageable things, and also just good job for all the classified, all of them taking care of everything and doing all those actionable items, as well as the teachers also having all those materials and content on hand. Next, fiscal year 23-24.
This annual report will go to
Yes.
Mr. Godfrey as well.
So this is almost the identical report. The only difference is this is for the 23-24 school year. So you heard this, if you were on the board at that time, you heard this at this time last year. So basically what this report does is it lets you know how our district performed last year. And it also gives you a breakdown of all the districts in the county. The same number of sites were reviewed last year. And in that case, for good repair facility, we had 62, of which 22 of those incidences were repaired on that day. We did have 27 teacher vacancies. And the way that works, the reason that number is different with this report is as we go through the school year, we open positions and we have to fill them or try to fill them at least. If we're not able to, there are instances of long-term subs. All those numbers are counted in this report. Of the 27, 11 of those vacancies were filled, and we had 26 misassignments. Misassignments would mean that a teacher is not fully credentialed to teach in the subject matter or grade level that we're asking them to do. So then you'll see agenda items from Mr. Gutierrez's office that will ask you to approve
A variable term waiver or a.
right. So asking
Waiver.
waivers for teachers to teach with us. And those would be your PIPs and your STEPs and your emergency credentials. So overall, we had a positive performance. Again, we had 0 findings in instructional materials. We had a couple of cleanup items on our SARPs, meaning when we did this work last year, the county said, here are 4 or 5 things you need to clean up in the SARP, which usually are items that are found in the FIT report. So we do that. They come back and give us the second report, and we're all clear there. And we're also clear in the teacher misassignment area.
Thank you, Scott.
Thank you. Next, we'll go into the enrollment report, month 4.
So that over to Mr. Beaton.
Yes, thank you. So month 4, at the elementary level, we lost 29 kids, but we gained 2 in the high school. So we're down 27 in month 4.
Thank you. Any comments, guys? Next is the monthly cash report, December 2024.
And also go to Mr. Beaton.
2 in a row. So as of December 9th, 2024, we have $71,339,891.15 down at the county treasury.
All right. Next, we'll go to 2024 staffing report.
Mr. Gutierrez.
Yes, thank you. So what you have every year at this juncture, we provide a staffing report to the board. And currently BUSD has 712 employees. You have the breakdown there. 278 are teachers, 16 are counselors, 36 certificated management. That includes administrators and psychologists, one speech pathologist, for a grand total of 331 certificated positions. I also included in my report a little breakdown of where we are in terms of vacancies. So Barstow High School currently has a math teacher vacancy. We have a long-term retired math teacher with the math credential in there. And actually, I'm glad to report that we interviewed and we offered that position last week. So hopefully we can fill that one. We still have an art teacher position vacant. We have a long-term substitute in there. And then in the wellness center, we have a long-term substitute that is actually studying to become a counselor. So we feel that the services that we're providing the schools are appropriate. The students at the schools that are appropriate based on the minimal qualifications that those teachers have. Central High School has 0 vacancies. Barstow Junior High School has 1 mild moderate support needs vacancy. That teacher actually we lost mid-year. She lost her credential. She wasn't able to fulfill the requirements under the waiver. Barstow STEM Academy, we have a 1 mild moderate support needs position vacant. We have Barstow Intermediate School with 0 vacancies. Barstow Fine Arts, we have 1 music teacher vacancy, and then 1 mild moderate support needs vacancy. Cameron Elementary has 1 mild moderate support needs vacancy. We have a long-term substitute in there with a mild moderate credential. Preston Elementary has 0 vacancies. Henderson Elementary, again, 1 mild moderate support needs long-term substitute, mild moderate support needs credential, long-term substitute in there. Lenwood Elementary the same, Montera the same, Skyline the same. So as you can see at the elementary level, there's a theme. We are short RSP teachers. It's not unique to Barstow Unified School District, but we're struggling in the state of California to increase the hiring of special ed teachers. Moving down to pupil services, we have a registered nurse vacant. We've been contracting that position for the last 4 years. I'm glad to report that we interviewed last week and we have a really strong candidate. We're doing a background check. Speech pathologist, we have vacancies there that we haven't been able to fill. Everyone in the high desert and below and down the hill are struggling with speech pathologists. So I have just a synopsis there. 63 new BUSD certificated hired during the 24-25 school year. 58 of those are actually teachers. Compared to last year, we were at 46 teachers. So we've increased that number. If we go down, and I think I'm going to steal a bit of Mr. Ortiz's thunder. I have for you the classified position information as of December 9th. The numbers are changing because we've been trying to fill positions. So we have 449 authorized classified positions. 368 are filled. And the breakdown is there for you. 168 full-time benefit 8 hours, 117 part-time benefit benefited 4 to 7.75 hours, 83 part-time non-benefit less than 4-hour positions, 56 paraeducators, regular paraeducators, 126 total student intensive classified positions, 22 are SE resource codes 3310, 14 4K, 14 TK, 6 speech. They support the speech pathologists that we're contracting out with, so those are there. 48 paraeducators in the special needs realm, 11 paraeducators in the ELL, English language learners, and we have 11 health assistants, and then we also have 13 classified management positions filled. And that's presented to the board as an information item.
Ooh, thank you. All right, next we'll go into the superintendent's report.
Yes, thank you. Good evening, board members, staff, and guests. I would like to welcome Mr. Anthony Eastlis as our newest board member. Mr. Eastlis grew up in Barstow and began working for Barstow Unified School District in 1995 as a custodian at Barstow High School. He transitioned to lead custodian at Barstow High School in 2014. Mr. Eastless retired in 2021 with 26 years of service to BUSD. He continued his service to BUSD as a classified substitute and now as a BUSD board trustee. Mr. Eastless has also contributed to the success of BUSD as an athletic coach. So we welcome Tony. But as we welcome Tony, it is time to say goodbye to trustees Chris Okamura and Mike Watson. Chris Okamura has been a trustee since 2016. Mike Watson has been a trustee since 2021. Both have served the district with compassion and determination. They committed their time to the well-being of the children of Barstow in an effort to improve their quality of life. Their work has helped to guide improved services to families, increased academic success for students, and stability with the BUSD infrastructure. I am honored to have worked alongside them, and we say thank you to Chris and Mike for their support and that they will be missed. I am heartbroken to hear about another school shooting that happened yesterday at the Abundant Life Christian School in Madison, Wisconsin, which resulted in the death of a teacher and a student. 6 others were injured. My deepest condolences go out to the families and the victims of the entire school community. And it is hard to believe we are 3 days away from winter break and at the end of the first semester of the 2024-2025 school year. We will blink and be preparing to graduate our 2025 senior class. Our amazing staff continue to support and guide our students as they work toward educational excellence. They deserve to be commended for their outstanding work. It is my hope each of them is able to spend time with family and friends during the holiday and return on January 6, 2025 to continue ensuring every student in Barstow Unified School District is provided a safe environment conducive to learning. Please enjoy the holiday break.
Thank you. Next, we'll move into the board reports. Mr. Eustace, you'd like to kick us off?
I don't have any.
All righty. And Mr. Perea?
Well, I'd also like to personally welcome Tony to the board. It's a pleasure working with you. I also like to congratulate our peer counseling group from Barstow High for their presentation. And I also want to thank whoever's responsible for all these gifts that we have in front of us here. Seems like it's going to be an early Christmas for us here. I'd like to wish everybody, all staff at the district, throughout the district, happy holiday, happy, safe holidays, and look forward to having you come back in the new year, start off fresh.
Cool, thank you. So for mine, I would also like to echo the sentiments of the superintendent to both Chris and Mike. Really, I think the biggest thing, at least for me, was I came in at a time whenever there was a bunch of people who'd been here for a really long time, and I was totally the new guy. And I liked how welcoming they made me feel on the board. So I just wanted to say thank you personally to both of them for their time and making me feel welcome here. Also wanted to congratulate Mr. Eastless. I look forward to all of our time and things that will get accomplished. I know we've had a lot of different conversations, and it was nice writing down to CSBA, kind of getting to know each other better and learn about some of the things you like to do. So I just look forward to all the good things that we can get accomplished. So thank you. I also wanted to congratulate all the district award winners. Classified, certificated management, just say thank you for all the great things that all of you do. I had the privilege of being able to do some site visits with the superintendent. We went and visited Cameron. I thought it was a great visit. I think one of the biggest things that I liked seeing was a lot of the teachers were getting really good use out of the, sorry if I say this incorrect, Promethean boards. I always have a hard time saying it, but it's nice to see something technology-wise that's being utilized. I saw a lot of the teachers were using it in a lot of different and creative ways. So it was good to see that actually something being utilized so well. I also liked the STEM and visualization rooms that they had there, and also just getting able to get to see the teachers, see the students, all the good things that are going on. So thank you for that. Also, it was fun to sit down and have lunch out at Skyline. I went to the lunch with the superintendent, so It's always fun and interesting to see all the things that elementary school kids say, and just spend some time with them. So that was really nice. So thank you for that invitation. It was also nice getting to go to the high school. I didn't know till afterwards the students were the same ones doing their presentation. But the winter social at the high school was a lot of fun. Just getting to play a few games and eat some cookies. So that was nice. And also just wish everybody a nice holiday break. I hope everyone can have some nice time with their family, with their friends, and enjoy some relaxation. All right. Next is student representative report.
Ms. Jaramillo had to leave to do homework.
All right.
Get her report next time.
That is understandable. Okay, next we'll go to representatives report, VA.
Good evening, everybody. First, we want to extend a warm welcome to Mr. Eastless as a new member of the school board. We look forward to collaborating with you and to enhance and improve our district, so welcome. As you may already be aware, our members received their yearly stipends and continuing contract bonuses late in December. This delay has caused a significant hardship and frustration among our members. The Barstow Education Association perceives this delayed payment as a potential act of retaliation related to the recent events within the district. In light of this, the BEA will be invoking our right to file a formal complaint in accordance with board policy 1312.1 that states, any complaint regarding the superintendent shall be initially filed in writing with the board. The board shall consult with the legal counsel or appoint an appropriate agent to conduct the investigation. Specifically, the BEA will be filing a formal complaint against Deanna Swearingen, Douglas Beaton, and George Gutierrez. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is CSEA.
Hi, representative for CSEA, Gary Thomas, communications officer for the board. So I'd like to congratulate you, and welcome you. I've worked with you many times on the board also when you were a sergeant of arms for multiple years. CSEA, we are be looking at our nominations for next year's positions. We're looking to we have voting on Thursday at our general meeting for treasurer, vice president, and communications officer. We're going to have a vote. We're also going to have our vote for the 2024 or 2025 negotiations team. We have several candidates for that. We're going to be holding an election for our Area F alternate director position for CSEA. We're also going to be holding the election for our certified or classified personnel commission seat. Last Thursday, we had our end of the year winter celebration, which we also had a special meeting. We did a vote on the MOU for the vacancy stipend. We had one no and the rest yes, so that seems to pass. It's now currently going through the approval trail. We're also looking to move along several MOUs for positions. And we're hoping to get those pushed through quickly, hand those off to Daniel's department and get those filled. I know that some of those positions are in dire need to be filled and a lot of work has been building up for them. And we'd like to thank the district negotiation team for helping us get to those. And we do have several negotiation meetings planned for January. We just finished one last week, in which we had a really good back and forth and moved forward on a lot of motions. So going forward, I think the end of the year turned out to be pretty good for us. So that's it. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. All right, next we have Personnel Commission.
Yes, good evening, board members, staff and employees, members of the public. This is my report for classified personnel. I want to give you an update on statistics. I know Mr. Gutierrez already gave you quite a bit of that report. We currently have 372 classified employees, so a couple more, and 169 8-hour full-time employees, 116 benefited part-time, and 85 non-benefited part-time. So those are the only updates to the other members. The board has also requested that I give you a little bit more detail in our report, so I'm gonna continue with that. With recruitments, we closed recruitments on electrician on December 5th. And we'll be reviewing applications and move candidates forward to testing shortly. We also have grounds and library media assistants that closed on October 18th. We're reviewing applications for media assistant, and we'll be moving up to testing shortly. For grounds, we are actually testing tomorrow and on Thursday. Being tested this week. We have posted director of purchasing, and that will be open until January 15th. And we have other recruitments that are open, health assistant, maintenance worker 1, nutrition services worker 2, school accounting technician, they're all open until January 9th. We also recently tested for outreach liaison bilingual. We tested on the 10%, and we tested the second half, which is the bilingual part, yesterday. So we will be moving to interview shortly. Once all that gets sorted. And let's see, I already told you about that. We also have campus security assistant. We're reviewing applications and we'll be moving to test shortly. Student information system technician tested on December 2nd, and they will be interviewing this coming Thursday, the 19th. So that's already cleared. For the paraeducators, there's a lot of vacancies in that. If you see our vacancy list, I walked into the job with over 100 vacancies, and we've been systematically trying to trim those down. The pairs is the biggest group. We estimate it's about 38, and I say estimate because every time there's a transfer, there's movement in the list, so it's kind of hard to keep track of that number. But we had testing for the para and the para ELL on December 6th, 9, and 10th. And for the special needs, we tested on December 5th. We had 75 individuals confirmed for testing. However, only 30 of them actually showed up to test. For special needs, we had nobody that actually tested, unfortunately. We're still gonna poll those that actually tested to parent to see if they like special needs. And for anyone. We're working on that para list. We need to create an eligibility list, and we'll be moving to interview the parents later in January, probably after your meeting in January. Let's see, and then the SAMs, those are being onboarded this week, and they'll be ready for board action on your January meeting, the 14th. We expect the first day to be the 15th, with training happening tentatively 15, 16, and 17. That concludes my report for information for the board. We also have our annual report that we're required by EDCO to produce and present to this the school board. The first, and by the way, we have two of our commissioners here present. I'll make sure I acknowledge their presence. Our board chair, Mr. Ben Rosenberg, please wave and say hello. And our vice chair, Mr. Commissioner Jason Heath. They're here present with me. And you can read their biographies on the first page of the report. With their photos, Mr. Rosenberg was difficult to get his bio, so we got it figured out. We also have a message from my predecessor, Ms. Patty DeWell, on the director's report. We have some information here on what is a merit system and some statement of ethics, etc. And then on the second to last page, if you want to review this, and we have some copies over here in the front if you need to read those. There's also statistics on some of the interviews we made. I'll call your attention to the first column, which is the 23-24 number. There's applications received on the year 23-24 is 975, almost 1,000 applications came in. So that is an increase from the year to year of about 200 applications. And you look at some of these numbers, most of that trend is higher. So there's been a lot of movement. The staff's been working really hard both Ms. Julie Grounds. I tend to sometimes call her, and I apologize, Julie Fields. You know, I had a good friend, Julie Fields, but Julie Grounds, and Maria Salcedo Serra, right? They've been working really hard. So I present this to you as an informational item. This is, again, on our Ed code requires us to produce a report to the community, and we also produce, give it to the board in our, in the December meeting. Additionally, I don't know if I take questions at this point, but there was a request that I give you a little information on what the merit system is, so I do have a short PowerPoint presentation. I'll try to go right through. And there's informational items, and you can always read this later, and it's cited, so you can always use this as a reference. Again, Dan Ortiz, I'm sorry if I didn't say that at the front end. I have a name for them. I'm the director of classified personnel, and this is a presentation that we have on what is the merit system. I had to gather information from many sources and districts to make sure I had latest and greatest, and we had a couple of good graphics that would make it easy to understand. So the personnel commissions are part of a system of personnel administration, termed the merit system, right? These are all guidelines for merit systems that are found in Ed Code sections 45-240 to 45-320. The 8800s is more for community colleges, so the 4500s is really where we live. On the next slide here, I think you can see how we're doing that, anticipating. The basic principles of the merit system is to encourage career service. So for individuals to stay employed in the district, right? As opposed to hopping to different districts, seeking opportunities, this encourages individuals to create a career, look for a career ladder within the district, have long-term service like Mr. Islas, right? In this district. Another, principle is like pay for like service. So this is where we do comparisons to make sure duties will not be the same, three classifications, but the work, we can find comparisons and make sure that the pay is equal or equitable. And then the merit system and the personnel commission also can have hearings when an employee is being disciplined and they ask for an appeal. So they appeal to us, and we have a graph later on that we could kind of go through that procedure. The last slide is self-explanatory, or the last point is self-explanatory. So let's go to the next one. And this is the part about the appeal. Employee in the merit system can appeal a discipline, a suspension, demotion, dismissal, anything where they're missing money. So that's when somebody can appeal to the personnel commission. Once you take action, then it comes to us, and then we review it. The personnel commission reviews it, and a hearing can occur with a hearing officer, or we can conduct that ourselves. Typically, an outside hearing officer comes in. And we ensure that due process is followed and fair play has been observed. Thank you, Christina. In this slide, we talk about, we make sure that we have fair and efficient methods, right, for hiring individuals, and we are able to gather the most qualified individuals, put them through a process of testing and review, paper review, for experience and background and so on and so forth, all their letters and references, so that we produce our list that we hope are of those individuals that are the most qualified for the positions. And next slide. Okay, thank you. Personnel Commission also works a lot on writing rules and regulations, right, to operate. And we establish written job descriptions. So we have a lot of internal discussions about what this word means as opposed to another word, right? I mean, some of that happens. What is the minimum qualifications for a job, or some of those standards that we want to apply across the board for our classifications. And updating the job descriptions is an ongoing work. Typically districts go through all the job descriptions every 5 years, so they kind of review 20% per year. And at the end of the 5-year cycle, all of them have been reviewed, at least to ensure that they're up. That is something that in this district, we need to implement and move forward with more of a global reach, but that'll come later. I like this graphic because this kind of shows the relationship between the Board of Education, which is this body, and the Personnel Commission, where we meet, and where I'm the Director of Classified. I'm also the Secretary for the Personnel Commission, and similarly to how Ms. Swearingen is the Superintendent and also Secretary to the Board of Education. Obviously, our goal is to cooperate and try to do the best we can for our students and our staff. And I believe this slide kind of gets to that point. Let's go to the next. There we go. This talks about, we hold our meetings in the same room. So any member of the public can attend our meetings. You're all welcome to come, please. Sometimes it's just us, right, Ben and Jason, so we welcome anybody to come to our meetings. Typically, our meetings are the second Thursday of the month at 4:30 in this exact location. We post our agenda online, and we have all of our attachments. You may have seen my college transcripts over there, so you know what my grades are. My calculus grades. You know, I got C calculus. The next slide, please. This is just a little little card, right, for you to refer to some of the ed code sections that link to some of the duties that the Personnel Commission has, recruiting and testing, holding hearings, the appeal hearings, classifying jobs, etc. This is something that in the old days we had, you know, this legal books on ed code, but now you can just Google this, get that information. And the other responsibilities, right? Creation, abolishment, restructuring of positions, offers of employment, we do that for our classified staff, processing of onboardings, right? So there's a lot of work that goes into that, a lot of paperwork, fingerprints, you name it, right? All the I-9s, et cetera, all the documents that need to be submitted, including physicals and the TB tests, so we review those. Transfer process, we also are the keepers of that information and ensure that when positions are open and people want to transfer, that they're notified. By the way, we posted a transfer list and it will close on January 8th. So there's a lot of positions there for transfer. That's transferred in motion. I think that's all. Let's go to the next one. I like this graphic, and yeah, just keep clicking every now and then on that. So this kind of shows the steps that we're talking about. We post transfer remote lists at the same time that we post the jobs concurrently. So 15 days is 15 days and not 30 days, right? So we run both of them at the same time. People can tell us they want to transfer, and at the same time, we have an open recruitment going. Recruitments are open. And eventually, once they close, like those 5 that we are closing on January 9th, then we move to review the applications. So it's a paper review to see if they meet the minimum qualifications. Then shortly thereafter, we schedule a written test and we proctor it to ensure fairness. And after that, we have to grade the test, score it, and then rank it. So out of all that process, we get a ranked list with sometimes there's ties, so multiple individuals can be in the same rank, but that would give us the top 3 ranks. Unless we're hiring 10 individuals, then we may need 12 ranks. So next slide, because I think that one kind of talked about the 3 ranks. Another click, please. So for example, in this slide, I like because if you notice, there's a promotional, this is a joint list with a promotional list at the top and the open list external at the bottom. In this instance, there would be only one individual that managed to qualify in the promotional list. And you need 3 ranks to conduct an interview. So we dip into ranks 1 and 2 of the open list so that you can have 3 ranks. So you see there's actually 4 individuals, but 3 ranks. Sometimes it could be 7 individuals and 3 ranks, depending on type. Let's click again. And this shows that once we have the ranks, it goes to the hiring authority for interview. Then the hiring authority sends us a paperwork with the recommendation of who they want to hire. All that onboarding goes on behind the scenes that we talked about, and eventually that shows up in your agenda here for. Next slide, please. This kind of talks about the discipline and the different steps of progressive discipline. So we start with oral counseling. Eventually, once things start to get more serious, then we go to a written reprimand, suspension, and that could lead to a dismissal. Once people start to potentially lose money, that's when there's formal charges in a Skelly hearing that is appropriate, that is conducted here at the district. Skelly officer can uphold the discipline or reduce it. Sometimes they can increase it, and then they move forward to the board with a recommendation to you guys. And then that's when the individual, if they're gonna lose money, it's a suspension or dismissal, they can ask for an appeal. That's when it comes back to us. That's some of these boxes on the inside, on the left side, where we would, personnel commission would hold a hearing, and they can also appeal it, uphold it or reduce it or dismiss it. And then that decision would be fine. That is a power that is given to the personnel commission. Thanks. Let's talk briefly about reclassification. You can click through these two. Always stuff. An employee can come to us and say that gradual accretion is a technical term in the Ed code that means that you're working higher level duties, but it's gradually happening over time. In order for a reclassification to be approved, it has the period of time must be at least 2 years. That's what they deem it, and it has to be a higher level work, not more work, but higher level. If it's less than that, it could be a temporary out of class. So that's what happens at this review with the staff. The staff is trying to figure out if the duties are being performed, justify reclassification. If no, it's denied, or if it's yes, then it goes up to the next step. Then the district has a decision to make. They can also take away the duties, right? So that is an option at that point. If that happens, then you have to go back and pay and figure out how you're gonna make this individual whole. If there was maybe a temporary out of class that occurred. So that's looking back, but looking forward, you take away the duties and they work within their class. So that is an option. So that's where the no reclass is denied. However, if they want the work done, then it keeps moving up the ladder to where the commission would make the decision, right? If a reclass is merited or if it's denied. That's what this slide is for. And the last slide, and this is just a summary, again, for information for you to review at your leisure. This talks about everything we talked about today. Nice little slide that you can get some information there. And I submit this to the board for information. And you're always welcome to come to our meetings, send us questions. We'd be happy to, even
You were talking about the electrician job that you're saying that was,
Yes.
you haven't tested for it yet?
That has been tested, yes. We haven't interviewed yet, and we're reviewing the applications.
What did the guy put in for retirement?
I don't know. That might be before my time.
Yeah, but I mean, we're early testing now.
This one, yes. So, yes. And I'm catching up to all of these jobs that have been.
No, I realize you're a new guy on the block, but I mean, come on now, And then there's 2 custodian jobs open at the high school.
Yes.
And have we open for interviews coming up or anything?
So there's a good list of 33 candidates. So that has to move to interviews. So that's the hiring authority has to get together with our department to be able to interview those individuals.
What's the holdup on that? I mean, they've been short for a minute.
They transferred, so that's one of those positions that we thought we had filled, but when they transferred, we filled the hole.
Yeah, you're right,
And
you're
then
right.
two others opened, and then those popped up late on us. And so
Ripple effect.
where did these people come from? Yes.
Okay.
So we kind of chase down sometimes rabbits.
So are we on it though? So I'm trying to get at,
Oh, yeah.
I'm an old custodian and, the staff is really hot on, there's
absolutely.
nobody doing this, nobody doing that, and they don't realize that they're just short of staff over there.
Right.
They've been short of staff for a long time.
Yes. Yes, and that was for the transfers. But yes, that's moving to interviews. We have a priority list of all the classes that we're going through. I kind of gave you an overview of that. And,
Well, I got that.
systematically we go one by one.
I'm an old
Click,
classified
click,
guy.
click. And yes, I was a CSEA laborer for 12 years, so I understand. I represented classified for.
I think your predecessor was, I really don't have much good to say, you know what I mean?
Well, I will at least keep everything on a positive note. And
Well, I can speak for myself here, and
Okay.
I'm just letting them know that I know. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
you have anything, Ray?
No, thank you.
I just want to say thank you. I'm sure that this took a lot of time putting this all together. I was kind of hoping, at least with all of this information, that it'll provide some clarity for everybody, both for us as well as for the public, is all the different processes and procedures that the Personnel Commission does have to follow and go through. So that way people, everybody has an understanding of all the things that are happening. It may not seem right away that things are happening, but there is a lot of work that is going on behind the scenes. So I do thank you for that.
Thank you.
Next, we'll move on to the adoption of the agenda with a corrected copy, K6B3, changes in salary and or classification of classified personnel. Do I have a motion?
So move.
And second, okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Communications, we do not have any. Okay. All right, next is the consent agenda. Does anyone have any items they would like to pull from the consent?
Not at this.
No. Right. All right, I did have 3 that I would like to pull. First, under general, K18, the consultant agreement. That would be the with
Nicodemus board.
I cannot pronounce it. But yeah, first one, the K18, second, under Ed Services, K24, another consultant agreement with Kagan Strategies. And the third was in Pupil Services, K31. And that was the MOU with the county.
On the CYBHI grant.
Yes.
Got it. Okay. Do we talk about this now? So we'll take the motion.
Approve the
Just let me
consent
know when you
agenda
guys
first.
are you good?
Approve the consent agenda first.
Motion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, can I get a motion to approve the consent agenda with the items listed?
So move.
Okay, the motion I had for Tony and second, Ray, okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so then we'll go into the first, under general, K18. Is the consultant agreement for professional development and designs for an community day school and independent study programs for the 24-25 school year.
Yes, and I've asked Dr. Williams to present on this. Dr. Williams?
Yes, ma'am. I have some materials that I'd like to give to you on the board just that I can reference to share a little bit about the consultant agreement. We're asking the board to consider tonight with Mr. Nicodemus Ford. So in the packet that you'll see, and I won't go through every page, but I just want to call your attention to a few things. First page is just quick definitions from the California Department of Education around community day school and independent study. Central High School, or the campus of Central High School, we've been looking at that as possibly expanding the role of that site to include other alternative programs for students in the district in addition to the continuation school. Two of those potential options are community day school and independent study. We've had them in the district in the past at different times. They've been changed and not filled at different times for various reasons. But last year, we actually began working with Mr. Ford in order to look at the potential need for these programs. He came in and did interviews with our staff, with our students. We had a 2-day planning session at Central High School campus. And so the third item in here is the design challenge leadership report and summary, just kind of outlining the work that Mr. Ford did with us last spring. And so I wanted to give that to you as a reference. And I wanted to talk mostly tonight about this PowerPoint presentation that I printed out for you. I'm sorry there are no page numbers, but I wanted to highlight on page number 4, the title says Our Core Program and Reach, just to give you a little bit of information about the work that Mr. Ford does with us and with other districts, mostly in California, but across the nation. He's currently working with 30 different schools, districts, and county Office of Education programs, impacting over 30,000 students. On slide number 5, these are 5 programs, alternative programs, that have been recognized as exemplars in the alternative education space. So one in Half Moon Bay, Cabrillo Unified School District, one in Detroit, Michigan, one in Tahoe, California, the El Dorado County Juvenile Detention School, one in Copa, California, the Calumet Trinity Unified School District, and one in Eureka, California, Pacific View Charter. On the next page, page 6, I just wanted to highlight some of the programs that we've seen at those schools, and as part of the reason that we're asking Mr. Ford to come help with our design of our programs here. The first bullet point says implemented project-based learning for 100% of students who were formally expelled from their schools in Detroit, Michigan. The second point is Mr. Ford helped in securing a $3,000 funding grant for collaborating with students living on the Hopa Reservation to implement traditional and ecological knowledge. The third point is increased attendance and participation by 80% by implementing student-driven projects focusing on restorative practices and social emotional learning in Eureka, California. So when we first were introduced to Mr. Ford, he did some work with a couple of our schools around building some projects. And ultimately, we did contract with him last year to help us interview and plan out our community day school and independent school offerings. Previously, independent school was kind of merged with the Barstow Digital Academy and distance learning from 2020 shutdown and on. And so we're starting to transition that into a independent study program that more aligns with traditional classroom learning and focusing on potential independent study. But a lot of this year's work is around our community day school. We do have a community day school in Barstow Unified School District. It is called the School of Opportunity, usually referred to as that, but it is a functional community day school. It's for students who have been expelled from their traditional schools in Barstow Unified School District, and helping build a program to help those kids experience success in an alternative way. This year, Mr. Ford's going to be working directly with the teacher and parent educators of that program to build and design a program as kids come in and out. Tonight, the board mentioned in closed session they had a reentry. So we know that students come into the program and come out of the program regularly, and they need varying levels of support. And so to design a place that is ready for students who are experiencing difficult things in their school career. And so we asked the board to approve the consultant agreement with Mr. Ford. Do you have any questions?
Not a question, but just a comment. Just one, again, thank you. Same thing as last time. I know that this takes a lot of time, so thank you for preparing all of that. And also, I very much so look forward to the programs and everything you guys come up with. It sounds really exciting.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Next, we'll move on to K24.
And I have asked Mr. Godfrey to speak on the KM strategies.
Sure. Over the course of the last about year and a half, we have brought Kagan structures training to our district. There are varying trainings that are tied to this endeavor. Two of them are called Day 1 and Day 2. Those are the basic components of what structured student interaction training looks like. For Day 1, we had 228 out of, I think it's 278 that Mr. Gutierrez shared. 228 teachers out of 278 had been trained in Day 1, 135 in Day 2. We offered a Day 3, which was an extension of cooperative learning. We had 94 teachers trained in that. Three other components of the training are called win-win discipline. The structures are really designed to support teachers that have classroom management needs. Of those, we had 60 teachers trained. We had social emotional learning training last June 4th, where 97 teachers attended. And just during Thanksgiving break, we had a building classroom community training, which included 37 teachers. In essence, if I can read to you just really quickly, Kagan structures are instructional strategies designed to promote cooperation and communication in the classroom, boost students' confidence, and retain their interest in classroom interaction. So really what we're trying to do is give teachers more tools to move away from traditional, what we would call traditional teaching, meaning teacher might spend 15 or 20 minutes covering a topic. They might ask questions of students. They might call on students to get responses, and then usually move into some sort of independent work. What the research says is when you put students in structured groups around the topic you're trying to get them to learn, it's a much more powerful way for them to learn. Because as we all know, if we're talking about it, we're teaching other people about what we know. So to get students to do that is our main goal there. So really what we look at is instruction is kind of, if I can boil it down to this, there's a whole lot that goes into instruction. But if I can just boil it down to sort of three simple buckets. The first bucket is what? What are we asking the students to learn? That's usually your adopted curriculum. That's the Williams stuff that we just talked about. It's also the standards that we hope that our teachers will reach with the students in terms of delivering California Common Core state standards. Then there's the when. When do we do this? Do we do it in the morning? At what point of the year are we doing it? And how often do we come back to it? That's kind of what we call pacing plans here at the district office and at our school sites. So what we're talking about with Kagan cooperative learning structures is it's the how. How do we help our students learn the information? So that's really what we're attacking right now. And laced within all these trainings that I'm talking about, there is what training. There is some when training as well. So it's kind of a three-pronged attack. This is just one of those prongs. And with the training we're proposing, if approved by the board, it would be 3 days of training. It would address almost every school that is willing and interested to participate. The Kagan coach would visit up to 2 schools per day and between 16 and 20 classrooms per visit. So it's a really robust plan, and we're hoping that you'll approve.
Do you have any questions? Well, thank you for the information. And also, I didn't know all those numbers as far as the amount of teachers. It's just nice to hear when programs are hitting home as well as that is. So thank you. Can I get a motion to approve the item? All right, motion by and second. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, and the last item for the consent, pupil services, K3-1. That would be the memorandum of understanding from the San Bernardino County Superintendent of Schools.
Yes, and I've asked Ms. Norman to present on this.
Okay, just a little information about the CY BHI, which is the Children, Youth, and Behavioral Health Initiative. Back in September, the superintendent received a letter from the San Bernardino County Superintendent of Schools. Just going to read a paragraph here. It says, the San Bernardino County Superintendent of Schools has been working with patience and intention to roll out the Children and Youth Behavioral Health Initiative, the CYBHI, School Link Partnership and Capacity Grant. As previously communicated, it says of the 400 million allocated statewide for the capacity grant, San Bernardino County is positioned to receive $24,277,838. San Bernardino County has completed the requirement from the County of Education Implementation Plan, which includes an outline of fee scheduled operational readiness, administrative costs, and the elements of the countywide collective impact approach. The San Bernardino County County of Education Implementation Plan identifies 80% of the San Bernardino County allocation of $19,422,470 going to directly 59 San Bernardino County LEAs for operational readiness. Below is the LEA allocation. Barstow Unified School District is to receive $461,782.93. Basically, I have shared some information in front of you and just kind of give like a short description of what this is. The Children and Youth Behavioral Health Initiative, or CYBHI, is designated to reimage and transform the way California supports children, youth, and family. The capacity grant program is promoting utilization of the CYBHI statewide multi-payee fee schedule. And then again, Barstow is to receive $461,782.93. We will receive from the county is to support behavioral health for all California children, youth, and their families. This one-time funding is designated to enable the development of improvement infrastructure, and capability of schools and school districts to meet the behavioral health needs of our students. Building infrastructure and can be sustained through the funding mechanism, like the school linked fee schedule, comparable to LEA BOP, which is a building optional plan. Funds allocated by the capacity grant must be dedicated or delegated by June 30th. The purpose of the grant program is to build partnership, capacity, and infrastructure supporting behavioral health services for youth under 25 years of age, to expand access to licensed medical and behavioral health professionals, counselors, community health workers, and behavioral health health coaches. In the packet that's in front of you, give you more information and goes into detail the different areas of how it's supposed to be used. Dr. Reed and also Elizabeth Plaster has already worked on the plan for the district and it's been submitted so that we can receive these funds, where in which we could basically it's like we can pay and then have the money reimbursed. It's already sitting there for us. We don't have to pay anything. It's free. It's a partnership, and they want to bring out more health needs to Barstow Unified School District. And like I said, in San Bernardino County, there's like 59 schools, so we all receive that information or the funding. And again, Dr. Reed, Elizabeth Plaster, they've already put the plan in place. That's a copy of the plan that's sitting in front of you. It says implementation plan, CYBHI. It gives you the different departments of where the money is going to be spent: service delivery, infrastructure, and capacity building. It goes on to also mention that it's going to collective impact. Again, LEA administrative costs, and then there's a page in there which kind of breaks it down: 70% of where it's going to go, and then 10%, and it gives each of the funding. Again, it's not going to cost the district anything. It's just the way the county is going to be supportive to different districts and LEAs and be in support of giving that mental health services to the community and to the students who are in need. The last page is just a list of practitioners that can be brought in and supported through this grant. I think that's all I have here, but it's definitely needed for Barstow. And this particular funding, it's there. The ladies have already done putting the plan together, and I think we just need to hopefully approve it and accept it. But it's a great opportunity for Barstow, and it's definitely needed.
If I may, Thank you, Ms. Norman. I know that was last minute and that was a great job.
Just kind of.
I just want to make sure that we highlight the plan that's currently in place. I'm just going to briefly highlight some of the things that are in the plan for Barstow.
Yes.
So hire 1 to 2 district social workers to provide support to school sites. Hire 1 to 2 applied behavior analysts, and continue partnership with Wellness Together. Also, training for all district staff on trauma-informed practices, adverse childhood experiences, and conscious discipline. Continue with SEL best practices training, cognitive behavioral intervention for school site counselors and administrators. Also, to establish a wellness room at each school site that does not currently have one. Behavioral health workbooks for students, iPads and/or Chromebooks to be checked out for in-home therapy sessions. Hiring a clinical supervisor to manage an effective behavioral mental health services district team. And travel and other professional development expenses. So that's a brief overview of the plan to use these dollars from the CYBHI to support many of the current issues that we're seeing at our school sites. And we are extremely happy to have these dollars coming our way and the plan in place. And again, provided to the board for approval tonight so we can continue to move forward with this amazing work that we're going to be able to do because of this grant.
You guys have anything?
Looks good.
Thank you again. Just great job, reaching out and taking advantage of all those opportunities. And hey, I mean, any resources for kids and free, that's the win in my book. So thank you. Can I get a motion?
Sure.
All right, Ray. Second? All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right.
We're almost there.
Yep. Now we'll move into discussion items. First, general L11, process of appointment for potential board member vacancies and timeline for appointments. Recommending the Board of Trustees discuss the process for identifying and appointing nominees and approve of the process of appointees for potential board member vacancies and timeline for appointment of new members.
Yeah, thank you. I apologize. Thank you very much. Interrupting you. It said potential board member vacancies because we were not sure when this agenda was developed whether or not Mr. Khalif Leggett would be in attendance for trustee area 5, or if Ms. Juliet Burrell would be in attendance for trustee area 1. We took a roll call. They did not show themselves, so we know that we do have the vacancies in trustee area 5 and trustee area 1. So this is the process that we will have to follow in addition to the timeline to get the appointment process started, implemented, and appointees appointed within 60 days. So the board has 60 days to which to do this work. So we're under a very limited timeline. So you'll see that the timeline is attached to fill those board member vacancies. So this will start as of tomorrow. The press release will be done in the Daily Press. Mr. Chavez will make sure all of it is out somewhere here. So the Daily Press and Victor Valley News Groups application materials will be available on the district website and social media, and applications will be accepted through Google Forms. So that's going to start tomorrow. And applications will be collected until the end of the business day on Monday, January 6th. Then January 7th through the 14th, those applications will be verified through the county registrar or voters to ensure that they actually do live in the trustee areas that they've applied for, and that they're vetted through the process. Then on January 21, the Board of Trustees will hold a special meeting for initial interviews and possible appointment of Area 1 vacancy. And then on February 4, the Board of Trustees will hold a special meeting for second interviews and possible appointment of Area 1 if we're not able to do that on the 21st, and Area 5. And then by Thursday, February 13, which is our 60-day window, we will have both of those appointments made. And then our deadline actually is Friday, February 14, to have that appointment process conducted and completed. If we do not reach a unanimous vote on both trustee areas, then, or either one, then the district will be forced into a special election, which will not be able to be held until November of 2025. Yes, so it's a stringent process, and it is presented to you tonight for approval.
Any questions or comments?
You gotta prove it.
Yeah. All right. Do we have a motion?
Sure, I make the motion that we approve.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, next we have L12, renewal of Mountain Desert Center Pathways, Career Pathways Joint Hours Agreement. Ooh, that's it.
That's a tough one.
Mouthful.
MDCP.
And, do we have a motion to open it for discussion?
I move to discuss.
Second? Okay,
And I will handle this one as well. So the renewal of the Mountain Desert Career Pathways Joint Powers Agreement, we fondly refer to as the MDCP JPA or just MDCP. So Barstow Unified School District has already signed an agreement with the MDCP. The original agreement was signed back in 2015. But I sit on the governing board with the other MDCP superintendents, and a discussion was had several months ago that we often get new board members onto our board and they don't know what this agreement is and they've never seen it. And so when we start to talk about it, they're unfamiliar with it. So the plan was to make sure that each year when we renew the agreement, that it does come to the board so you can see it. The JPA continues to exist. We continue to participate in the JPA. They run all of the financials and the budgets and the reporting for everything that we do in CTE, specifically at Barstow High School. And it is presented to the board tonight for approval. And so you are familiar with the MDCP and the fact that we are a member of that JPA, and we need to continue to remain a member of that JPA because they do a significant amount of the legwork that goes behind our CTE programs. So this is presented to the board tonight for approval.
is there any questions? Yes. Motion for approval?
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Next, we'll move to business services, L41, purchase order listings. Can I get a motion to open for discussion?
So move.
Second.
And this is going to go over to Mr. Beaton.
So from 11/6/2024 through 12/9/2024, we have 103 purchase orders for an amount of $850,132.79. Ready, submitted for your.
You guys have any questions on any line items?
No.
Do you have a motion for approval?
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And next we'll go to L42, first interim report. Have a motion to open for discussion.
So move.
Yes, and this is going to go over to Mr. Beaton as well. And I believe he has the PowerPoint that's being in front.
Yes, you guys have a copies of the PowerPoint.
On paper today.
Yeah. Oh, it's right.
Good evening, Board President Eldred, Superintendent Sorensen, board members, staff, and guests. I'd like to share tonight with you the summary of the first interim report we were submitted to the county. At this time of the fiscal year, the district is in satisfactory finance condition and is recommended that based upon the first interim financial report, the board approve the following. A positive certification that the district will be able to meet its financial obligations for the current year and two subsequent 2 fiscal years. And then any revisions to the budget as outlined in this report. So our big pot of money, which we like to refer to as the local control funding formula, which drives our district. Then we have the federal income, other state income, and local income. I'd like to, our adopted budget is going to be on the left-hand side, our projected interim is gonna be in the center, and I'd like to speak to the differences there. Our federal income, we had a carryover in Title I. Plus we had ESSER money in, currently budgeted, but we ended up spending it, in the prior year. So that's why you're seeing the difference of those two is about $3,350,000, and that's why you see the difference in, the projected amount. Once again, that's because the money was spent in prior year, or we budgeted this year, but we ended up spending it in the prior year. So we got the money previous. Also, another state government, same thing happened there. We had our in-person instruction grant was also spent last year, but we had planned to budget this time. It's because on our the actuals happens in between budget and first interim, and that's why you're seeing that difference there. Along with the the LCFF equity multiplier. We were in the budget, we were projecting that we were gonna get it. We haven't received that money yet. And so we're waiting to see when that money's gonna get here before we actually put it back in the budget. So that's why you see that large difference there. I illustrated this in a pie chart for you, so you can see that a lot of our money comes from the LCFF. Our federal and state monies are pretty close to each other, and we get a small portion from the local. For expenditures, I also want to, our adopted budget, our projections are going to be in the center, and I'd like to speak to the differences once again. For the certificated classified and benefits, those are additional positions that we added to the budget, and that's what you see there. For supplies, we added textbooks to the expenditures. And as far as capital outlay, we have a few more projects that we've added on that we're busy fixing the district's capacity. It's been a goal of mine. As far as our expenditures, you can see that pie chart there. Usually your certificated salary and employment benefits all equals about 75 to 80% of the budget. But because we're spending so much money on our capital outlay using the COVID money, you're seeing that a little disproportionate. But soon we'll get back to normalcy since we get spend the rest of those COVID. So our beginning fund balance. We started off the year off with $84,333,296. Our revenues this year projected is going to be $122,204,257. Our expenditures and transfers out $137,236,862 with a budget deficit of $32,605. Bringing us to an ending fund balance of $69,300,699. What you're seeing here is we're spending a lot of the COVID dollars that we had put into the reserve, and now we're spending those, and so that's why you see a deficit. It's not because we're
and our timeline to spend those dollars is at its end.
Yes, and so forth.
So we're trying to spend them all.
Yeah. So for that $69 million, this is how we identified in our fund balance. 36% of it is in restricted, 57% of it is in assigned, and our reserve of economic uncertainties is 6% of that $300,690. Our revolving cash and stores, we keep about $525,000 in our bank for local for minor expenditures, or to keep our stores. In order to do a multi-year production, there are some assumptions that have to be made. Our projected enrollment for 24-25 is 6,129, and what we're doing here is we're projecting flat, meaning we're not projecting any increases or decreases in enrollment. It's a conservative way to just make sure that we're not over projecting, or so that's why we do it flat. Unduplicated pupil count, that is our low income English learners and our homeless. And it's an unduplicated count, so that also helps give us money in our supplemental and concentration grants. The higher your pupil percentages, the more piece of the pie you get. Right now, our unduplicated pupil percentage is 77.65%. Our estimated P280A is 5,553.88, which gives us an estimated P280A of 90%. 90.62. We'd like to get that a little higher. Years past, before COVID, we were right in that 93, 94 range. So we'd like to get back to that and put plans into place for that. Our COLA this year is 1.07. At the time of this report, the best information I had for the following year and the year after that was COLA was dipping down before what they thought was going to be, and they suspected it wasn't going to reach anywhere near 1.84. I've since learned that because the state's doing a little bit better than they thought, it should be somewhere around 2.4. So
That'd be great.
we'll see. We're hoping for a good Christmas. What's that number? 2.4.
2.4.
That's what they're telling us. You know, the same people told me that it was going to be 1.8.
Yeah.
Right. So, but we, the state is doing a little better than it has previously thought. They're looking at about $3 billion more than they had. We'll know more in June, and the May budget will come out in May. The budget will come out January 10th. We're all excited to see what Mr. Newsom has in store for us, right?
Yeah.
Step and column, when you move over, as you go along, we usually projected about 2%, and our step for classified is usually about 1%. So with all that information, we plug it into our little machine there, and we get our multi-year projection. Thank you, Christina. I would like to note that for the reserve of our economic certainties, we have a positive balance there, and we'll remain to have that. We will remain to have that there. Like I said, we're spending down our reserves, fixing our facilities, and using those one-time monies for good causes. And that's reflected there.
Does this show that we can meet our obligations for the current year and the next 2 years out as required?
Absolutely. We are certifying a positive certification. We have our ending fund, projected ending fund balance at year 3 is still $58,653,195.
So still positive.
Yes, we're doing it.
Thank you.
I've listed the restricted balance detail there for you, so you can see which programs we're carrying as a restricted balance. Some of these are projections. You see a lot of dollars where we're zero. Those are the programs that we've spent or we're either projected to spend down or have spent down from last year. Next.
Are these all of our categorical dollars?
These are our categorical.
Typically referred to as categoricals?
Yeah.
We have to spend them on in specific areas. We don't have an option.
Right.
Is that correct?
Yeah, that is correct. And some of them are very, string, the old saying that.
Very stringent requirements.
Yeah. Only can be spent on special things, like especially that special education, early intervention, preschool grant, only can be spent for kids 3 to 5 and special ed. And so we have no balance there that we're working on spending. And so that's the rest of them, and that's our balance of $25,215,450 and 2015. I also, wanted to assign our unrestricted, balance, and so, by assigning those dollars, it's part of the requirement is when you have, a large unrestricted, balance that you, assign it, so that's what we've done.
Indicate where those dollars are planned to be spent.
Yes, thank you, Gina. So we have additional COP payments of $6 million, so if we ever got into a problem where we're not able to make our COP payment, this is money there that will ensure that we do that and that we don't get fined or penalized, so that's why we put that there. We have deferred maintenance plans of $5 million. We have Department of State Architecture's ADA improvements of $2 million. When we go to make changes to our infrastructure, the state says, okay, now you have to have disability accessibility. Sorry, and that's why that's there. We have emergency infrastructure repairs, $5 million. It seems every day I get a call that our lines, either a gas line, a water line, or is breaking, so that's helps fund that. We have equipment replacement extraordinary. That's your boilers, could be roofs, could be the need for our more cars and trucks. So that's why that money's there. We also have our heating and ventilation and air conditioning mechanical systems. We have two schools scheduled for this summer, Lenwood and Cameron. That will help pay for that. We have retirement cost increases of $1 million. Every year it seems like our retirement costs are increasing. We have technology improvements, phones, intercoms, and surveillance that we're working on. Now they'll be coming to you in the future board meetings. And we have a vacation payout that we need to pay for classified. We've been holding on to the vacation for a few years, and we need to, that contract, we need to pay that up. And then we have uninsured claims for extraordinary. Those are for the SAMS cases that we've been experiencing, and if we're not, they go back, so some of our cases aren't insured, so there's $943,134.89. Also, for the coronavirus relief, I've been tracking the expenditures as we've gone through the years. I think the board has experience. We're a couple blues, and then we had whites and reds. The blues meant that we had spent and received everything. The white was we had received more than we spent, and the red was we received less than what we spent. So as you can see, we've spent all the money that was given to us in good faith on all programs that we wanted to do. We have 2 left. That's the rest of 3 programs, and those will be spent and received by January 20th. So I have a deadline to make sure that we get that done. And then just the homeless and children youth, and we're spending that right now. If there's any questions or comments related to this first interim report, my email is provided on the slide and my phone number. Anybody has questions? And for now, if you guys have any questions, I would need to move.
Not this time.
I just had a question. It was on the first interim report. It was on slide 10. Just as far as the surplus is concerned. I know that we're running negative, and I'm assuming those are all like our COVID. Those are the COVID dollars and all of that happening. Is that realistically, let's say everything stays where it is and we're 26, 27, is that then fairly level in subsequent years following, moving into the future after 26, 27?
And you can see on 24, 25, that 15 million, but then it drops down to 6 million and to 4 million. So you're answering your question, as the COVID dollars finish being received and spent, which will happen this year, then deficit spending normalizes out to what is the district traditionally sees.
Okay. And is that relatively, like historically wise speaking, like around that 60 number? Is that?
The 69 million,
Yeah,
you're looking at the ending fund balance?
yeah.
No, that fluctuates, and really depends on revenue. Our ADA has really impacted our budget. So he mentioned our ADA is at 90%. We usually run somewhere between 93 and 94%. One of our targets for our differentiated assistance is chronic absenteeism to try to get our ADA percentage higher. So that really does fluctuate. This would not be normal for us if our ADA percentages were higher, because we would be bringing in more revenue, because our kids would be more frequently in their seats. So we normally run at a higher level, somewhere in the $80 million mark.
Okay.
But ADA or chronic absenteeism is really impacting our budget.
Yeah, every percent is like
Counts.
another $1 million. So
Yeah.
Yeah, significant.
So we are targeting chronic absenteeism as part of the work that Mr. Godfrey's doing. So.
Did you guys have anything there? Okay.
That's just
But I did want to point out that what you're seeing is both unrestricted and restricted. So and some of that money we're sitting in our fund balance. We need to spend that restricted money also. So that's why you see.
Yeah.
It's not a bad thing to spend.
It's just spending the dollars that we have
Yeah.
by the deadlines. Yeah.
Yep, just trying to make sure everything, you know what I mean, where it is and where relatively when we level off, what we're looking at being at, so.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right.
Good.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, can we get a motion?
I'll move. I'll move.
Second, all right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. L43, Workplace Violence Prevention Plan, SB 553. Recommend the board approve the Workplace Violence Prevention Plan for Barstow Unified School District for the 24-25 school year, and that the superintendent or designee be assigned to sign all necessary documents on behalf of the district. Can I get a motion to discuss?
So moved.
Second.
So if you recall, Ray and Aaron, you will recall, Anthony, I think you were at our last board meeting as well. We had a request from CSEA to pull the SB 553 that we had on the agenda at the last board meeting, in order to address a few questions that CSEA had. I did task Mr. Beaton with reviewing CSEA's questions. He did that. He worked with Mr. Thomas over there to make sure that all the questions that CSEA had were addressed and answered. And I believe that has happened. And Mr. Beaton finalized the SB 553 based upon those questions. And the plan that is presented to the board tonight is presented to the board for final approval. And we'll be happy to see that happen. Mr. Thomas, thank you for your questions. They were very good questions. I did review the plan with Mr. Beaton as well.
Yes.
But I believe this is now a good solid plan presented to the board tonight for approval, so we can finally have it in place.
Cool, good. You got questions, comments?
good. Wow.
Cool. All right, do I have a motion?
So moved.
Yes, sir.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All right. Next, we'll move on to personnel services. First is classified, certificated L6A1, establishment of one certificated position, school counselor, adult education. Recommending the Board of Trustees approve the establishment of one school counselor, adult education position, 7 hours, 195 days per year, beginning with the 24-25 school year. Do I have a motion to open for discussion?
So moved.
Mr. Gutierrez.
Yes, thank you. So, the Assistant Superintendent of Educational Services, Mr. Scott Godfrey, has identified a need to increase services for adult ed. We've noticed an increase in enrollment the last few years, and so with that comes responsibility to increase resources and services for those students that are actually attending adult ed. This position will provide assistance with educational, adult education enrollment, college admission, developing, coordinate, and implement guidance programs for students and the community at large. And the financial implications are listed and are presented to the board for approval.
I like any more positions, any extra people or extra help for the students, so do we have a motion? So move. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, next we have L6A2, public hearing for waiver for educators employed in specific positions not fully meet California credential requirements for the 24-25 school year. Recommending the Board of Trustees adjourn to a public hearing to provide an opportunity for the board to receive input concerning the proposed variable term waivers of California education codes for the educators listed covering California credential requirements. All right, so it is 8:02. We'll adjourn for public hearing.
Any comments on this item? No. Mrs. Hildreth, any? No? Mr. Thomas? Anything? Sure? Anyone else have that?
You know me, I'll speak up if I have to.
Going once, going twice.
Apparently have no comments.
All right, we'll reconvene and call it 8:03. Following the public hearing, recommend that the Board of Trustees approve the submission to the state of the said waivers pertaining to the specific California teaching credential requirements. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All right. Go to classified. L6B1, establishment of classified positions. 1, ground maintenance worker. 1, human resources technician. 1, maintenance worker 1. Recommending the Board of Trustees approve the establishment of the following classified positions as site indicated. Do I read the full? Okay.
Yep.
1, grounds maintenance worker, 8 hours per day, 260 days per year, range 28, effective December 18th, 2024, facilities maintenance and operations. 1, human resources technician, 8 hours per day, 260 days per year, range 37, effective December 18th, 2024, personnel services and classified personnel. 1, maintenance worker 1, 8 hours per day, 260 days per year, range 33, effective December 18th, 2024, facilities, maintenance and operations. Do I have a motion to open for discussion?
So moved.
Mr. Gutierrez?
Yes, thank you. So we have 3 positions here. If you look at grounds maintenance worker and maintenance worker 1. The district identified a need to increase the support based on the site needs. The district has sites and we have not increased in the past more support for our maintenance workers. So talking to those 2 in conjunction, we identified a need to increase in those 2 areas. As a human resource technician, I would like to just share with the board that if you notice, during my staff report, every year we keep on increasing the number of interviews, the number of people we need to hire, the number of people we need to onboard and create records and all of that. So we identified a need in my department of personnel services to increase by 1 human resource technician to make sure that we facilitate and speed the process for hiring so that we can get the resources to the school site and for our students. And these items are presented to the board for approval.
You guys?
I don't have any questions.
Nope, I like it.
Aye.
Can I get a motion?
I got a motion.
Second?
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, next is L6B2, CSEA MOU number 2425-006, position vacancy stipend between Barstow Unified School District and California School Employees Association, Chapter 306. Recommending the Board of Trustees approve CSCA MOU number 2425-006, position vacancy stipend between Barstow Unified School District and California School Employees Association, Chapter 306. Can I get a motion to open?
So moved.
Mr. Gutierrez?
Yes, thank you. So I'd like to inform the board that we BUSD and CSCA negotiated in good faith. This MOU went through the 610 process and it was ratified actually last Thursday. Basically, this MOU is to address the employees' workload that they've taken, especially this last year with all the vacancies. So this is money that fell to the bottom. And we felt that it was well spent to reward our employees due to the fact that they've been carrying the load. So basically it breaks down this way. If an employee works more than 4 hours, they get $3,000 stipend. And then if they work less than 4 hours, they get a $1,500 stipend. And like I said earlier, it went through a 610 process and it was ratified and it's presented to the board for approval. Questions?
I'll say something. I think it's great. I know I say thank you a lot, just as a verbal thing, and even giving awards, but it's another thing to have money in your pocket. And I know that, it's appreciated and I'm glad that we can do that. So, can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. All right. Does anyone have any items for future board meeting?
I don't even know if I'm gonna do this right, Mr. President, but, could we look into the, board policy of the board members visiting school, sites?
Sure, yeah, we can put that down.
Okay,
We
please.
got it, yeah.
And the second one I'd like to put, I don't even know if this is right, correct, or whatever, but the, like the drop off, the school, the buses and the parking and
Okay.
mostly the bus, the way the buses come in our sites and then,
The drop off.
yes, and then there's some facility, some of our sites, there's no, parking for the visitors, for the parents, you know what I mean? And, the parents are the ones that are paying our salaries and we should be, have some designated areas for some of the parents that come and visit, and I know it's a problem,
Yeah.
So
Okay.
could we do that too, sir?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Thank you.
And I would also like to ask for the superintendent to create a plan to allow the board for us to begin working on our workshop for a board self-evaluation, so that we can create our goals as the board and then also integrate those into the superintendent's goals moving forward for the 25-26 school year. All right, and we will be going back right into second closed session.
Yes.
Okay, it is 8:09.
If I could have Mr. Gutierrez, Dr. William, hit the gavel.
It is 9:08 and there were no actions taken in closed session. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
So move.
There we go. Second.
Picked it.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you so much. Tony, welcome again.